Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tales from the Vault. Tonight's a little different. I have been, it's been almost a year, it's been a year now, but for the last 6 months, I've been thinking of some way to put pen to paper and come up with a way of expressing and doing something I've been wanting to do. So tonight's video it's about losing my buddy Jeff Bradley. We lost Jeff to COVID a year ago, and this is one of the hardest videos I've had to make. To be quite honest with you, I think I'm on my 7th take and just trying not to break down. So, with that being said, I want this to be a more positive video. I want everybody to enjoy it if you knew Jeff, and have a smile. Have a smile about it. So, I'm gonna get started. I met Jeff one night with my buddy Stacy Hudson. He had told me, "Hey man, I'm gonna run to Pizza Inn and see my buddy Jeff." And Stacy knew everybody, so okay. So I ride to Pizza Inn with Father Stacy to Pizza Inn, and I meet Jeff. And the one thing I can tell you about Jeff is, when I met him, we just clicked. Jeff, he was calm, cool, and collect. I don't know what he was doing at Pizza Inn that night. He had graduated college and got him a good job, and he used to be a manager at Pizza Inn, and I think he went up there and answered some questions to help somebody out, which is so a Jeff Bradley thing to do. So anyway, me and Jeff and a whole crowd of us dudes, we'd hang out. And we'd hang out at this little restaurant called Debbie's. One of the guys in the group, his parents had the little restaurant, not in the best side of town, so us kids were always looking for somewhere to park or hang out, like in a parking lot, and talk. So it was a benefit for them, because as we hung out in the parking lot, nobody was messing with the building. We'd go inside and play cards or sit in the parking lot on a tailgate and just talk and laugh and be standard kids, high teens to 20-something-year-old kids. But Jeff was always pretty good about like joking and just giving advice. One thing about Jeff is it didn't matter what I asked him about, he would just give good, sound, level-headed advice. And I didn't have a brother growing up. Kind of always wanted one, and I've got a cousin that's like a brother to me now, but for that period of my life, Jeff was like my brother. We'd hang out, all of us dudes would go to like Flashbacks, which is this local club, and we'd drink beer or whatever, being young, and we'd always end up like singing karaoke. We had done it so much they had called us, they gave our group a name, Y'all. They would just say, "Y'all come to the stage," and we get up there, and most of the time we sang Elvira. And I don't know how many times we sang that song, but I'm pretty sure we owe the Oak Ridge Boys some royalty fees on that one. But regardless, the partying and the fun, Jeff was always the responsible one. You never saw Jeff mad or visibly upset, and I'm sure he did at times, but I'm just telling you, from hanging out in the crew, Jeff was level. You'd ask him something and he'd give you good advice. One of the things that Jeff told me one time, like advice wise, was I had thought I'd fell in love with this girl. Obviously it did not work. I was very young, and I was like, "Man, why are people like this, Jeff?" And he's like, hey, let me tell you something. People don't change. Because I convinced myself that, things could get better, And he's like, "Glenn, people don't change." He said, "They may change a small detail or an aspect of their personality because of a circumstance or a situation." He said, "But in the beginning, if you didn't get along with them, that's exactly how it's going to end. They're going to go right back to being how they are once they get comfortable." And Jeff, you're pretty right. I mean, some people make a change, but as a whole, it's not a big thing. So, but anyway, we're all hanging out. We're having fun. We go to Coastline Band. We go see Chairman of the Board at Club Faces, and one night we're hanging out somewhere around Dunn, and a group of girls come up from Benson, and in that group of girls is the one and only Katie Chandler. And I don't know what it was, but as soon as Katie saw Jeff, they were just, it was love at first sight. I mean, she was all about him. And after that, if you wanted to know where Jeff was, you'd have to go find Katie's car, because she's gonna hang out around them. They're going to be together, which was an awesome thing. So anyway, they date and everything, and eventually they get engaged, and they're planning their wedding. And for us guys, you know, hey, it's one last night, we're gonna party. You know, we're gonna have a lot of fun on the bachelor party. And so us guys go to Myrtle Beach, and we rented some house or something. I can't remember. I know me and Jeff shared a room. There's pictures proof of that. And so that night we're getting ready. We've got a limo coming to pick us up, and we're sharing a bathroom, whatever. And Jeff looks at me and he says, "Hey, listen to me. I need you to listen to me." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, whatever you need, buddy." He said, "Glenn, I love Katie, and I'm going out tonight, and we're going to have a little blast, a load of fun. And when I get done having fun tonight, I'm spending the rest of my life with Katie." I said, "Yeah, you're getting married." He said, "Do not let me do anything stupid, because one of these other people talked me into it. I am getting married." And just so you know, Katie, while we did have lots of fun that night and probably did a lot of things, Jeff was a good guy. I can promise you. I was his secret chaperone to keep things going. But anyway, God, I miss him. So anyway, they're getting married. We go to the wedding rehearsal. And for all of us that were lucky enough to participate in such a beautiful wedding, Jeff had gave us guys these like gift packages, and they had like a flask and maybe a lighter or something in it. But I remember I had a flask, and they were all monogrammed. So the next day we show up for the big ceremony, and while we're outside, we don't know where you are. You're getting ready. You know, you can't see the bride before the ceremony starts, and we're all outside talking. And Jeff goes, "All right, fellas, where are the flask at?" And everybody just looks at each other. Jeff's like, you guys did bring the flask, right?" And I said, "Yeah, Jeff, I brought the flask." So I had stuck my flask in my tuxedo jacket. And Jeff's like, "Glenn, I knew I could count on you." So he runs over there and he grabs the flask from me, and he just shakes it. He goes, there's nothing in here." I said, "Yeah, I ain't putting nothing in it, Jeff. I didn't want to spill anything and smell like alcohol in this church where we're getting married." And just like, that was the whole reason I gave you guys the flask. For the record, I still have my flask. It sits on a shelf right beside my Earl Thomas Conley autograph picture. I'll tell you about that in a second. So anyway, Katie and Jeff get married. They moved to Mobile, Alabama. They're coming home for Christmas one time, and Jeff had called me and was like, "Meet me at the exit ramp on I-95. Like he was so tickled to have got me this gift. He wasn't going to wait for me to go see him, because you guys have busy. Everybody's pulling at you. I'm talking to Katie, but everybody's pulling at you when you got home. Everybody wants to spend time with you and Jeff, and I can only imagine. But so anyway, I meet Jeff and Katie at an exit ramp, and he goes and pops the trunk on his car. Maybe it was your car. I think it was your Honda. But anyway, and sure enough, it's a picture of Earl Thomas Conley, and it's autographed, and it says, "Happy birthday, Glenn, ETC." So there's two things about that. Number one, he loved me enough to get that, and that is awesome. On the other hand, there's no telling. I bet me and Jeff burned up 3 CDs in his Honda listening to Earl Thomas Conley and singing and riding around and all of the Earl Thomas Conley songs. Conway Twitty, Lionel Richie, even Daryl Dodd. And for those of you that don't know who Daryl Dodd is, we don't feel bad. Nobody else knows who Daryl Dodd is. Me and Jeff joked he sold 3 CDs, one to his mama, and one to me and Jeff. So that's all 3 CDs. But he did have a good song. We loved the song. So anyway, later in life, I'd meet this girl that I loved and wanted to get married, and I had to call Jeff. Jeff, man, you ain't gonna believe this, dude. You ain't gonna believe this. In my own weird little way, I know I idolized him because he was educated. He was good to me. We loved each other. I loved him. I hope he felt the same way, but I'm sure he did. But hey, man, I'm getting married too, dude, and we planned the weekend, and I take her to Destin and introduce her to Jeff, and then Jeff calls me later and he goes, "All right, dude, you doing good for yourself?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, and as life would have its twists and turns, when it's over with, I think he was the second person. I talked to a neighbor, but the first person I called to get real advice was Jeff about, hey man, does this really mean it's over? Is it really destroyed? And that's a private conversation. I won't go into it, but anyway, but back the story up. Jeff gives me the thing with Earl Thomas Conley, and one night I was lucky enough to go to like a Lionel Richie concert and hang out and stuff, and I was like, oh man, Jeff's got it. I mean, I've seen Lionel Richie tonight. Jeff's got to know this. So I snuck out of the concert to get a cigarette, and the reason I really go outside is because I'm just burning that cell phone up. I've got to tell Jeff, you ain't gonna believe this, man. You ain't gonna believe this. And I call him, and Jeff said, and I was like, hey man, you ain't gonna believe this dude. Lionel Richie is tearing it up, dude. He is killing it tonight. And he's like, Glenn, I gotta go, man. I'm pretty busy. I was like, are you okay? Because that was not Jeff's way. And not to be too detailed, but him and Katie were trying to start their family, and things weren't going the best they could. Having a couple complications, and I'll never forget. He said, Glenn, I gotta go. I just want to go hold Katie for a while. And I let him go. I called him a couple days later and checked on him. God, just ain't fair, Katie. But anyway, the most impressive thing that Jeff ever created were and Katie are them 2 boys. So it's unfair. It's unfair those boys don't get to grow up with Jeff. But in all fairness, between Katie's people and Glenn and Linda and Michael and everybody, the boys are going to be taken care of, and just friends. If you guys ever need something, I'll step up to the plate in 2 seconds and not question it. But we're going to take care of them, Jeff. And and as for Katie, I'm sorry, Katie. It's not fair. But I will tell you that a long time ago, I had read some things, and one thing I had read was a famous guy that said it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. And if you look at these pictures, I'm pretty sure you guys had love. And so I'm looking through these pictures, and eventually I get to these pictures. And these pictures are pictures of Jeff just looking out into the distance, like towards the horizon. And so I asked myself, am I just seeing this way? Or is it a real thing? So like when you guys look at these pictures, do you see Jeff looking out into the world too? Do you think he's contemplating? Or do you think he's just taking it all in? I'm pretty sure it's both. There's one thing I wanted to kind of tell Jeff was that, dude, while we were growing up, none of us were angels. But I know you're in heaven, and I'm sure that you are God's most logical, level-headed, calm angel that he has working in his kingdom. Don't worry about us down here. We're going to take care of ourselves. And I want to end this with one last piece of advice that Jeff gave me about 6 months before he passed, and we were talking, and he said, I'd apologize. Life had gotten so hectic, and being married and my crazy life, I didn't stay in contact with Jeff like I should, and I apologized. And he was like, hey man, it ain't that big a deal. You know why? Because we're friends. And I said, yeah, Jeff, we know we're friends. I love you, man. He says, no, Glenn, you don't understand. It doesn't matter how far away two people get from each other, or how long ago the last conversation was that they had. Real friends can pick up on the last sentence of the last conversation and care nothing about the distance or the time that was between the last two words. And I don't know when the next time will be, Jeff, that I get to talk to you, but I can't wait to start back on that next word of that conversation. Thank you guys for watching this. I made this to send to that little group of people that we all used to hang out with, be so close and knew everything about each other. Pray for Katie, pray for them boys. Pray for Glenn and Linda for losing their son, and Mike for losing his brother. Life isn't fair, but for some reason we all must face it the best way we can and move forward. Thanks for watching.